I'm a horse. Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on? Jake Off Nation. That's right. Jake in the house. Welcome to Jaking Off, you Jake Offs. Wow. The fans got a name finally. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before this thing goes viral. Oh, that's so funny. No. Thank you so much for tuning in. What episode number is this? I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know until I go and upload it, because I can't keep track. What do you want me to do? Count? No, I won't. I think this is number 7. Number 7. Wow. Hey, thanks for tuning in, y'all. It's me. It's Jake Redpath. This is Jaking Off. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Might move over just a little bit. There we go, just to be safe. Oh baby, are we gonna have a fun one today? As always, if you have anything you want me to take a look at, feel free to send it to jakin.off.podcast@gmail.com. Again, that's jakin.off.podcast@gmail.com. Or you can message us on Instagram. It's just me. At jakin.off.podcast or at Jake Redpath burner account. That's my regular account. Post comedy stuff on there. Speaking of comedy, I had a fun weekend. It's Sunday. It's Championship Sunday in the NFL. We'll get to that. But I had an interesting weekend of comedy. It was a fun time. On Friday, I did stand-up comedy in Topeka, Kansas. Oh boy, we love Topeka. It was fun. The crowd was quite rowdy. It was one of those situations, sometimes when you do stand-up, you gotta go do these sort of like road gigs and stuff. And Topeka by no means is a small town, but it's also not a city either, I would say. And it was rough. We're in this bar, and I mean, people are talking really loud. I mean, they're just talking so loud. When I got there, I rode with my friend, very funny comedian John Sheezer, and his wife Joni. We went to the bar. We're getting a drink. John's in the bathroom or something, and this dude immediately is like, "Hey, lady, what are you drinking?" And she was like, "Oh, well, I'm having this, and my husband is having this other drink." So just kind of being like, "Stay away from me," to these guys. They're like older dudes, kind of rough looking, some Topeka looking fellas, if you know what I mean. And so then they immediately turned their attention to me. And I haven't drank alcohol in 29 days as of today. It's January 29th. So I was just drinking water. I just had a cup of water. And he goes, "Oh, you're just drinking water." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, hey, how old do you think I am? How old do you think I am? And I was like, "I don't know, man. You're 55? You're 60? I don't know. I have no idea." And then his buddy was sitting next to him, and he's like, "Well, how old do you think I am? Huh? How old do you think I am?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. I have no idea." And then the original guy, the first guy who approached me, and this dude, what he looked like, he had like, almost shoulder length gray hair and like a gray mustache. The other guy was bald, but they're both wearing like trucker hats. They're both got trucker hats on, and not like cool skateboardy kind of trucker hats, but like, trucker hats where like the American flag looks like it's made out of like goo or something. And the other guy's like, "How old do you think I am? How old do you think I am?" And I'm like, "I don't know, dude. I have no idea." I just fucking walked in here. It's the rowdiest bar. I got to do comedy very soon. And I'm just kind of like, shit, man, like this sucks. And then the original guy is like, hey, you're just drinking water. You're just drinking water. How about he's like, you give me a ride home. You could give me a ride home. And I was like, no, I'm not going to give you a ride home. He's like, come on, I'll give you $20. I'll give you $20. You give me a ride home. And I was like, I'm not going to give you a ride home. And obviously, because after that, he's like, well, I'm just messing with you, man. And I was like, yeah, I know you're just messing with me, dude, but, like, I hate this. Like, stop. I don't want to talk to you. You know what I mean? It was like these, like, very drunk people. And everybody's wasted. I mean, the bartender is, like, screaming at people and, like, he's doing, the whole I'm the cheeky bartender kind of thing, and is like, hey, what the fuck do you want to drink? To people. That's an environment. And, when the show started, it didn't change at all. It did not change one bit. Not at all. And my friend Brett Schmidt, who booked the show, he was hosting, he went up, and God bless him, hardly anybody heard him. I mean, there's like maybe, and the room's not very big. It's a small, compact room. But there's maybe like 3 tables of people towards the front that are listening. You're talking about like, somewhere around like 12 people total actually paying attention. But then there's about 30 people in the back of the bar, seemingly screaming their conversations to each other. I mean, like, you could barely hear yourself on the mic when you're on stage. And it was turned up really loud. It was like as loud as it could go. And so it's just a shit show from the jump. And the next comedian was Spencer Gordman. And he is a young man. He's very young. He looks like a child. And I love him. He's a good guy. But he's a baby. He looks like a little baby. And this guy, the same guy who asked me for a ride home, bought him an Irish car bomb. I don't know what you're supposed to call him. I know you're not supposed to say that, but that's what it was. And I'm really sorry. But he gave him one of them and made it like while he was on stage, like this guy's trying to do comedy. He's like, take this. He's standing in front of the stage, screaming at Spencer. There you go. You got to take it. And so he does it. And, it just is a madhouse in this place. Then I go up next and I'm doing 30 minutes of comedy. And kind of towards the beginning of my set, this dude, the same guy that was talking to me when I first got in there that said I should give him a ride home is, he's still screaming and whatever. He like walked up and shook my hand at the beginning of my set while I was on stage. I was like, that guy, I said into the microphone to everybody, I was like, that guy asked me for a ride home later. He offered me $20 to give him a ride home. But the thing is, I can't give him a ride home for $20 because I only take grass or ass. And I said, I'm all good on grass right now. So it looks like it's going to have to be some ass from you, sir. And he looked at me. He came up right to the side of the stage and he looked at me and he goes, you got a nice ass. He goes, you got a nice ass. And I was like, oh, shit. Thank you. That's scary. And then I was like, well, what's your ass? Like, give us a spin. Let's see your butt. Let's see your ass, sir. And the man turned around and lifted up his jacket a little bit so you could see his butt. And then he pulled down his jeans and took his whole entire ass out of his jeans and mooned me while I was on stage. Yeah, that's what happened to me in Topeka. After that, I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to do any more crowd work if I can help it. You know what? I think I'm just gonna do the time that I'm supposed to do and get the fuck out of here. It was a fun time. Actually, towards the latter half of my set, people that were being super loud and shitty ended up sort of leaving eventually and trickling out, and all that was left by the end were people who were actually paying attention. It was really nice. And then John went up and obviously did well, and so that was good. It ended up being good after a while. It just was the beginning of it. I was a fucking nightmare. I felt so bad for Brett and Spencer. I was like, Jesus, dude, this is, at least they were paying attention a little bit at the end of my set, but good God. Um, yeah, last night I went to Gardner, Kansas, and it was much different. It was a lot better. We had a nice, attentive audience, who paid attention to us, and yeah, that was a good time. So it's not really a fun story for me to tell because it was just nice, and we had a good show. But yeah, nobody took out their ass and showed it to me while I was on stage. So it was yeah, it was fucked up. I hated it. I I don't know. His ass was surprisingly less hairy than I thought it would be. To be totally honest, I didn't expect the sort of you know hairless smooth ass that I saw from this guy. To be totally frank, it was interesting. I was caught off guard. Fucked me up, man. So it's been a good weekend. Got a little bit more stuff going on tonight, baby. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's the AFC Championship game. I have a lot at stake. Not like gambling or anything like that. I just am a lot of my short-term mental well-being is tied up in this game tonight between the Chiefs and the Bengals. We're doing it. We're doing Chiefs and Chatter out at the Comedy Club of Kansas City. That'll be a fun time. Hopefully we'll get some people out there. I'm recording this a little bit beforehand, so that'll be interesting to go back and listen to this. Dude, it's you know what? I already was on edge. I already am like, I love football and I want them to win so badly. But with this specific game, there has been a lot sort of tied up in it because the Bengals have been doing some smack talk, which rightfully so, because they have, against Joe Burrow, they're the Chiefs are not looking so good. They're 0-3 against them. They're all 3-point games. They're really close. All of them could have gone either way, seemingly. So, and each one of those, the Chiefs had a lead, end up giving it up. So I'm hoping that our defense can step up tonight. This is gonna come out on Tuesday, so this might be painful. But I'm hoping for a victory. There's some smack talk from the Bengals, but then it's kind of gone a step too far. Things have kind of amped up a little bit because the mayor of Cincinnati, this guy, his name is Aftab Purival, is the mayor of Cincinnati. He released like a fucking a decree of some kind. It's like this decree. And first of all, I just want to say this is the most cringeworthy shit ever. I fucking hate when politicians or anybody really that's like not literally on the team for the Chiefs. Like if you're a professional NFL player, you talk a little shit on somebody else, fine, dude. But if you're the mayor, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, dude. You're an idiot. You're a fucking moron, dude. And I swear to God, I hope it made me so mad to see this. I hope this guy loses the next election to a fucking terrible candidate. I hope, shut the fuck up. You're an idiot. And you know what? It's going to suck if I record this and then the Chiefs end up losing. I'm going to have to listen back to it when I'm fucking editing or whatever. God, I hate this guy. Here's the video. This is him. This is Aftab Pureval talking shit on the Chiefs. I hope they fucking impeach this guy.
Good afternoon, Cincinnati. I have a proclamation from the desk of the mayor. Be it proclaimed, whereas the Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Burrowhead Stadium for their second consecutive AFC Championship game. Whereas at last year's game, the Bengals scored more points than the Chiefs, resulting in a Bengals victory and a Chiefs loss. Whereas Joseph Lee Burrow, who's 3-0 against Mahomes, has been asked by officials to take a paternity test confirming whether or not he's his father. Whereas all season long, Cincinnati has been on a path of destiny, fighting it out to overcome anyone who stands between them and a Super Bowl win. And whereas Kansas City is named after its neighboring state, which is, just kind of weird. Now, therefore, I, Aftab Pureval, Mayor of the City of Cincinnati, do hereby proclaim January 29th, 2023 as They Gotta Play Us Day in Cincinnati. Thank you.
Fuck you. Fuck you, sir. I can't fucking believe it. Dude, what the fuck? Oh my God, this guy's a moron. And you could hear him. Who talks like that, first of all? You know what I mean? Like, he's like a robot. He looks like a little fucking robot. Well, hello, everybody. And hereby, and do declare that, da-da-da-da-da, shut up. You shut the fuck up. God. There's a lot riding on this for me. He ended up apologizing because even Bengal fans were like, dude, don't do this. This is bad. This is cringeworthy. This is, you're giving, this is bulletin board material. There's no way that if you're in the Chiefs locker room, they're calling it Burrowhead. Dude, he's saying that he wants to have a paternity test done to see if Joe Burrow is Patrick Mahomes' daddy. That's bad. If I'm like the Bengals, if I'm like a player on the Bengals or a Bengals fan, which a lot of them we're like, dude, stop. Don't do this. You know what I mean? Because real fans of football understand that these games are not, it's not as if they have been won dominantly. You know what I mean? The Bengals haven't like blown the Chiefs out, but they have beat them. They've won football games. You got to give them a lot of credit. They're a really good team. But you do not want to be the guy who gives especially Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you do not want to be the guy who is giving them more bulletin board material to say, look, nobody thinks we have a chance to go out there and win this game. He apologized. This fool, this fucking coward, ended up apologizing. He said, Bengals Nation, LOL. Oh, is it funny? You think it's funny, bitch? Okay. You think it's funny? We'll see. I hear you. Bengals Nation, LOL, I hear you. My competitive juices and love for Cincy got the best of me. My bad. Staying hungry and humble. See you Sunday. Who day, baby? Who day, baby? Fuck off. Fuck off. I can't wait to send you packing tonight. I cannot wait. I hope this fucking guy, God, I hope he loses. Dude, if you're an actual Bengals fan, and you guys lose this game, you can't vote for this guy. You can't fucking vote for this guy. You can't put this guy back in office in the next election. I mean, this is a fool. You guys have elected a fool, okay? And I'm not necessarily a fan of the mayor of Kansas City either, but it's one thing. Like, I know, like, when we were playing Buffalo and stuff, the mayors were like, hey, if the Chiefs win, then we'll send you some buffalo wings. And if the Bills win, then you send us some barbecue. Very appropriate. That's fine. You know what I mean? That's okay. That's not trash talk. That's just, friendly wager. And they were doing some stuff like this too, but this guy took it too far. And with all the narrative going around, the Chiefs are everybody is taking the Bengals over the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes' ankle, he got hurt last week. He's going to play. This trash talk, this mayor bringing it up, they're calling it Burrowhead. It is yeah. I can't imagine that the Chiefs are not fired the fuck up to go and beat this team. This guy is to blame, honestly. I mean, obviously, if the Bengals lose, other people would be to blame as well, such as the actual players and stuff. But you gotta put a decent amount of the blame on Aftab Pureval. However, Aftab Pureval, the mayor of Cincinnati, if they end up losing this game, because I got to be frank, I'm worried. I'm not super confident in the Chiefs to win this game, and it's hard for me to say because I'm a fan. I love the Chiefs so much. Like I said, I want them to win so bad, but they have beaten us 3 times out of the last 3 times that we've played. They beat us in the AFC Championship last year. They can beat us in Arrowhead. They've proved it, and that's what you've seen some of the Chiefs players say. Like Frank Clark, I believe. They were, asking him about, these guys calling it Burrowhead and that kind of stuff instead of Arrowhead, and he was like, hey, they've beaten us 3 times in a row. They have the right to talk a little shit. We gotta go out there. If we want them to stop, we have to go out there and shut them up. And it's exactly right. He's exactly right. But God, it grinds my gears. I hate this mayor. You know what I mean? The players doing it doesn't bother me. I like it when the players are like talking shit. I think that that's so entertaining because they're professional football players. Like they have the ability to back it up. This guy is talking shit like vicariously through a football team that he has nothing to do with besides the fact that they're in his city. I mean, this guy probably couldn't throw a fucking football to save his life. His hands look delicate and soft, and he looks like a stupid fucking dipshit bitch. So that's what I think. That's what I think of that guy. Don't vote for that dude. I would rather abstain than elect a fucking guy who did that to my football team, Cincinnati. We'll move on. Oh, well, there's also the NFC Championship today, and as you can tell, I don't really give too much of a fuck about that. I hope the Eagles win. I hope it's Eagles-Chiefs. I want a Kelsey Bowl. We all do. Wouldn't you love it? I love their podcast. It's so cool. Their New Heights podcast. Yeah, so hoping for an Eagles and Chiefs victory. That NFC game is kicking off here in like 3 minutes. So, man, oh man, what a whirlwind! What a whirlwind, dude! I saw this clip. That it's about a year old, and it made me so mad. This video pissed me off so much. I've made light of or pointed out the another time before on this podcast of Jimmy Fallon being an absolute fucking shill. And it granted this was for like COVID or whatever. He was shilling for COVID. And I know people don't like that word, but that is what he's doing. And I saw this other clip. This is about a year old, but I remember seeing it when it first came out, and it made me really mad too. It's a clip from Jimmy Fallon's show where he had Paris Hilton, famous heiress to the Hilton Hotel dynasty, Paris Hilton, of Simple Life fame, Paris Hilton. And this is Paris Hilton and Jimmy Fallon talking about uh their Bored Apes, their NFTs, dude. They joined the Bored Ape Yacht Club. This is from January 25th of 2022. So, play this for you.
I jumped in.
I know, I heard. I'm so happy I taught you what they were.
You did. You taught me what's up, and then I bought an ape.
I got an ape too because I saw you on the show with Beeple and you said you got a MoonPay, so I went and I copied you and did the same thing.
You did? Mm-hmm. This is your
mine.
ape.
Yeah,
We debuted.
it's really cool. Like the hat, the shades.
Now, how did you pick? Because you can pick your ape.
Yes, I was going through a lot of them and I was like, I want something that like kind of reminds me of me, but this one, it does. I think we made like another version of it where he takes the hat off and blonde hair comes out.
So.
Yeah,
because you can do now whatever you want.
Animated version.
We're part of the same. We're part of the same community. We're both apes.
I love it.
This is my ape.
It's yours. Yours is so cool. I love the red heart sunglasses. I love the captain hat.
It reminded me of me a little bit because I wear striped shirts. I've worn these heart sunglasses because my daughters, just as a joke, they have them, and as a joke, I put them on. So I've done this. And I love yacht rock and being breezy. So I'm like, yeah, that kind of, and I like the blue. Dude, look at us.
They look like they could be friends.
They're buddies. Yeah, I
Absolutely infuriating. It makes me so mad, dude, because they're pumping this shit, right? Like the whole thing. If you don't know what an NFT is, it's an online, it's a picture that through the blockchain that most people have no idea how it works. You know, admittedly, I'm not super familiar with the technology. I have a general idea of how it works, but through blockchain technology, they can prove that you are the owner of this image that is online. And these fucking assholes went on television and pumped this scam. I mean, these are scams. NFTs are scams. They're no different than any other multi-level marketing ploy that has ever existed, right? Because what's the point? And this is what they're doing, right? This is exactly what they're doing here is they have to find somebody else to buy these things. They have to get more people to buy them so that the value of their picture goes up, so that in the future they can sell it for a profit. But there's no actual value in the thing. It's not even really original art. It's all AI. It's like computer generated graphics. It's fucking insane. And here are two, massively influential and wealthy people on network television pumping this scam to millions of people. To millions of people in America. It's fucking disgusting, dude. And the problem that I have with it the big problem that I have with it is that neither one of these people, whatever network Jimmy Fallon's TV show is on, is never going to be held accountable for trying to push this scam onto the American public. Granted, they're not as culpable as the people who started, the Bored Ape Yacht Club or whatever. I'm not saying that Paris Hilton and Jimmy Fallon should necessarily be, fined or something. Well, maybe they should be fined, actually. I'll take that back. I think that you can make the case that maybe they should be. But they're never going to be held accountable. You know what I mean? You're never going to hear an apology from Paris Hilton or from Jimmy Fallon for being like, hey, America, I'm so sorry that I took time on my show that has millions of viewers to promote a scam and get you to waste your money on fucking nothing. And it pisses me off to no end. You know what I mean? We should, it's so shitty what they did. And it's not as if a year ago people weren't saying, hey, that shit's a scam. From the jump, from right when NFTs came out and crypto, people were like, this shit is a scam. Like, this is not worth it. And this was obviously pre-FTX crash, where the value of cryptocurrency took a massive hit, and a lot of the credibility has disappeared overnight in these sorts of technologies and stuff like that, let's say. So they owe people an apology, right? They should have to say, you know what, I got this wrong. We shouldn't have gone on TV and promoted our fucking stupid ass Bored Ape Yacht Club shit that we can afford, that other people are buying into that can't afford it, that shouldn't be buying into, you know, shit like this that is like so volatile and so reliant on ripping other people off that it can ruin their lives. You know what I mean? You can go online. You can read stories of people, if you go on Reddit to the right places. You can read people talking about how I bought into, you know, so-and-so NFT, Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT, and lost my life savings. You know, I now I'm going to have to retire, you know, 5-10 years later than I was going to have to because I lost all this money falling for these scams. It's fucking bullshit, man. It makes me so mad. I feel so indignant. I feel so indignant. And you know what else is lame as fuck? Is the way that they're talking about these fucking pictures of monkeys as if they represent something about themselves, and they're not just randomly generated. The Paris Hilton shit where she's like, it's got the hat and the glasses, just like me. Shut up. No, it's not. And even she wasn't even fully in belief of what she was saying. You know what I mean? And Jimmy Fallon is like, I have these heart-shaped glasses, just like how when I play with my daughters, and I like to wear striped shirts. And I have the captain's hat. I like that because I love yacht rock and being breezy. Shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the fuck up and apologize. And you know what? If you fell for it, fine. You're a moron. And the thing that people will say, right? The thing that people say about, you know, people like Jimmy Fallon or Paris Hilton doing this on TV, the kind of stuff that they'll say as sort of, you know, a defense of what they're doing is that, you know, they probably have somebody else sort of like advising them on these decisions to invest in this sort of shit. And maybe they don't completely, you know about it or understand it, yada, yada, yada. Well, then don't promote it. Don't promote it on TV if you don't fucking understand it, dude. They printed them out. They put them right next to each other. Oh, look, they could be friends. We're part of the same community or whatever, making it seem like it's this exclusive club when all it is a giant fucking scam. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting, dude. This fucking culture, man. It's terrible. Yeah, you can tell I'm in some type of mood because of this football game tonight. I'm a little stressed out. I don't know, man. It's been a weird week. It's been a long week. They released the footage of Paul Pelosi being attacked. If you know anything about that, I can't remember how long ago it was, maybe like a month or two now. This guy, David DePape, attacked Paul Pelosi at their home. Paul Pelosi's like 80 years old. Hit him with a hammer. Hit him in the head with a hammer. And the footage is not as graphic as it sounds, because when he does hit Paul Pelosi with the hammer, it's off the screen. So you just see him swing it. It's still fucked up. It's still really fucked up. And, you know, I mean, for all of the things that I feel like Nancy Pelosi and Paul Pelosi should be heavily criticized for, I would love to see Nancy Pelosi, you know, lose her power in the Democratic Party and, be voted out of office. And I would like to see all politicians be held accountable for their shady dealings and stuff like that. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, right? Like I never want to see anybody get attacked or something like that. It's inappropriate. It's too far. It degrades, I feel like to a certain extent, the legitimacy of our, movements and our perspectives and stuff like that, when there are sort of things like this that happen. But an interesting thing happened after this footage got released. David DePape, the guy who is accused, as of right now, of attacking Paul Pelosi in his home, called a local San Francisco news station and talked to this lady there, this reporter who had reached out to him and never got any comment. And I got to be frank, it's a little fucking wild because the whole thing with when Paul Pelosi got attacked, and they released this footage this week, but there was this whole conspiracy theory going around. And I mean, this was even coming from very mainstream sort of, it was being pushed by very mainstream conservative outlets that David DePape and Paul Pelosi were actually gay lovers, and that they were having a lovers quarrel. That's what they kept saying. And of course it's bullshit. I mean, this guy had a whole website that was just riddled with all the shit that you would expect from somebody who goes to somebody's home and attacks an 80-year-old man with a hammer, right? He's off his fucking rocker, and he called this news station in San Francisco. I'll play it for you. I'll play the phone call, but it sort of kind of completely destroys the narrative that this guy was Paul Pelosi's lover when you hear it. So here it is.
DePape strikes Pelosi in the head, knocking him to the floor. Hours later, I received a phone call from DePape while I was in the KTVU newsroom.
Now that you all have seen the body cam footage, I have an important message for everyone in America. You're welcome. Freedom of liberty isn't dying. It's being killed, systematically and deliberately. The people killing it have names and addresses. So I got their names and addresses so I could pay them a little visit and have a heart-to-heart chat about their bad behavior.
DePape offers an apology, not for the attack that seriously injured Pelosi and left him hospitalized for several days with a fractured skull. The apology was for what he says he didn't get to do.
I want to apologize to everyone. I messed up. What I did was really bad. I'm so sorry I didn't get more of them. It's my own fault. No one else is to blame. I should have come better prepared.
The suspect in the Pelosi attack says that he spent all his time exposing online what he calls government corruption, only to have his freedom of speech silenced, with his website shut down.
I have a lot more to say. I had a website of over 300 pages. That's 300 pages of stuff they don't want you to hear. I'm in the process of trying to set up a new site out of the reach of tyrannical global homo fascists and their internet censors.
Our conversation lasted just under 5.5 minutes. I wasn't able to challenge his statements and ask.
There it is. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of hard to hear because he's talking on a jail phone. The man is in jail. But pretty clear there. He said, I am sorry that I didn't get more of them, referring to corrupt politicians, in his view. And he basically said at the beginning of his statement, he was like, these people are ruining this country, or, something along those lines, and they have names and addresses. So kind of almost seeming like a bit of a call to action, or at least that kind of shit. But yeah, it really kind of ruins the entire narrative that was being pushed of, this guy is Paul Pelosi's lover. 'cause he literally came out and said, nope, I was trying to kill him. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't kill more people. And so obviously, he called and made that statement to this lady, but then wouldn't answer any further questions because he said he didn't want to hurt his case, which, I gotta be honest, it seems as if that phone call and statement that he made already is going to hurt his case a little bit. I mean, he called the lady and was like, yeah, I did it. I wish I would have gotten more. I wish I would have done more. That's the only thing I regret. It's like, holy shit, dude. You're fucking nuts. You're crazy, dude. Even if you do believe that, once you get arrested, I feel like you got to at least pretend like, no, that wasn't even me. Otherwise, you're fucked, dude. You're totally screwed. So, yeah, that sort of destroys the narrative. It's tough to see that, because you don't see him get hit, and I'm not gonna put it on here. I hate that stuff. I watch it myself just because I feel like it's important. It's when sort of that kind of stuff is released, where they're like, okay, this is footage of a thing that happened that was wrong, and but there's some debate, no matter how legitimate that debate is about what happened. If you want to weigh in on that, you should probably watch it. But I also understand not doing it. And it doesn't mean that you can't have an opinion, you know what I mean? Or get a good sense of what happened. I feel like we're kind of experiencing that now with the whole Tyree Nichols murder by the police. I'm definitely not going to play anything from that. It's fucking terrible. It's horrific. I don't even know. I feel like there's not even words, right? Because like this happens again and again and again, and it's so depressing to think about. But I did want to talk about it a little bit, and I don't want to talk about the, the stuff that we always talk about with this. I want to talk about the arguments that people made or make, or the rhetoric that they use when stuff like this unfolds. We saw with the George Floyd stuff. When stuff like this unfolds, there's always like sort of these standard arguments or points that are attempted to be made by people who support the police and are back the blue lives matter sorts of folks, and it always happens with these things. And one of them is something along the lines of like, if they would have just complied, then this wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Or they'll say something like, if they wouldn't have ran, then this wouldn't have happened. Specifically with this case, I've seen people say that, him running got the police all amped up, and that's why they ended up beating him when they caught him. And that's fucked up. He's like, that's an insane perspective to take. I reject that outright. You know what I mean? It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse for this to happen. That's not a good reason. And people will say, well, I'm not saying that means that I think that what happened was right. Well, then why are you saying it? You know what I mean? Because if you strip it all away, if you take, the specifics of all of these cases away, the crux of what you're saying is that if you run from the police, if you evade the police in any way, which is not, if you're running away from them, it's not really putting their lives in danger or anybody else's lives in danger. You're running away, right? It's an inherently it's flight. There's fight, flight, or freeze. Those are the responses. They're fleeing. They're not fighting. They're fleeing. And what you're saying, though, is that when somebody runs from the police, that ultimately a potential outcome that is in the least case, understandable to you, if not acceptable, even though nobody would ever admit that, right? Nobody would say, well, I don't think that it's acceptable. But then why are you saying it? Why are you making the point? And it really is. It's to sort of manufacture. I mean, it's manufacturing consent. That's what it is. And you see it you see this come from the media, right? Because when these events happen, right when people see the video with their own eyes, they go, "Oh my God, that's terrible. That's awful. This is horrific. This is horrendous." Even people who are, back the blue or Blue Lives Matter, a lot of times, not all of them. Some of them are just pieces of shit to their core. But most of them are believe in what they're saying, right? And so when they see these videos, they say, "Oh man, that is like horrific. That's heinous. This should not have happened." But a day, 2 days goes by, and the narrative changes. The narrative changes. Well, if he didn't run, it wouldn't have happened. I don't agree with what happened, but if he wouldn't have run, it wouldn't have happened. And that's bullshit. Because if you strip it down, what you're saying is that somebody who runs from the police, if they run from the police, it is an acceptable or understandable outcome for them to get murdered. And it's bullshit. You're literally capping for violence. That's what you're doing. And it's that is just the stripped down version of it too. That doesn't even go into the fact that if these police officers can't keep their cool when, chasing down a fleeing victim, then they shouldn't be fucking cops. All right? They shouldn't be police officers. Look, I have family in law enforcement. I am by no means a Blue Lives Matter back the blue person. I think that there are massive issues with our police, with our criminal justice system, of course. That's not my perspective. But what I will say is that even my own family members that are law enforcement are like, man, that's fucked up. But it's just hard for people. And what they're doing, right? You have to understand when stuff like this happens, what people are doing is they're trying to they end up taking these narratives and internalizing them because it helps them not have to change their beliefs. It helps them not have to adjust the things that they believe in because they believe that the police are good and that they're always there to protect you and that they're always going to do what's right. And they believe that, right? They believe that very simple version of things, and it's not true. And when we see stuff like this that proves that it's not true, it is hard for people to change their beliefs and to accept that maybe it's a little more complicated than they thought. And maybe there is something to the fact that police are the system of policing is inherently racist and violent. And instead of doing that, it's much harder for people to change their beliefs or to accept, evidence that refutes their beliefs as being true. It's much easier for them to lie to themselves and to use that as a way to confirm the thing that they already believed in. And I just think it's important to point out, right? Because you're going to see it. It's, they really built up this footage, and it's fucking horrific. But you're going to see, because it happened with George Floyd too. People, when that shit came out, people were like, "Oh man, that's fucked up. Like, this is wrong. Like, this shouldn't have happened. Da-da-da, no buts." And then slowly, a few days goes by, a few weeks goes by, and now what do you have? People, George Floyd was on fentanyl and all this shit. He died of a drug overdose. They no longer believe what they saw with their own eyes. And that's the power. That's the power of media, right? That's the power that these people hold over broader society. That's why it's so fucked up what Jimmy Fallon and Paris Hilton did too. And that's why they should apologize. Because this is it's it's getting people to not even believe what they see with their own two eyes, and it's sad. It's fucking depressing. And I'm not, you know what? We're about to wrap up. I'm not trying to. I feel like this episode has been a little heavy, but you know, I felt like it was important to talk about because we at some point we can't let keep letting these narratives thrive. We have to speak out. We have to say, hey, that's a lie. They're lying. They're lying to you. You can see it. You can go watch it for yourself. So, and if you think about it even just for a second, it's horrific. This guy, I don't think that they should have, beat this man to death. But all that means is that everything they said before that, they don't actually believe, and they're fine with it. They're fine with this sort of violence being done to the black community or other at-risk communities. So that's all it is. That's all they're saying. And you got to watch out. You got to push back. You can't we fucking cannot let people walk around here being so fucking stupid. So that's the end of the show. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I love you. Again, send anything at all to at jaken.off.podcast@gmail.com or at jaken.off.podcast on Instagram. Oh, shit. My cousin sent me something. Fan of the show, member of Jake Off Nation, my cousin Nicole. She sent me an article about Ron DeSantis canceling AP African studies or African American history in Florida. And it's like, ugh, God. I there couldn't be a more telling sign. That guy is frightening, man. Ron DeSantis is a scary dude. That is an authoritarian man. He is an authoritarian leader. And the scary thing about Ron DeSantis is he's so much more competent in achieving his dystopic goals than somebody like Donald Trump is. Like, I think that you could really make the case that Ron DeSantis is a much scarier person to have as president of the United States than Donald Trump. Now, I think that what happened with Donald Trump's first administration and the way things sort of ended, and knowing the level of ego that guy has, that maybe he's maybe that evens it out a little bit. He would be a little more willing to fucking really push whatever his agenda was. But I mostly find Donald Trump to like almost completely lack any ideology at all, and it's most of the stuff that he does is based on being just sort of a vain mobster kind of dude. Whereas Ron DeSantis, I think, has proven that he is more than willing to use the levers of state power and executive power to push his agenda forward, which is one of oppression and one of censorship and one of increased theological sort of governance. So I don't think that that's good, and it's fucked up, and it scares the shit out of me. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry that this was such a bummer. I love you. Jaken.off.podcast on Instagram, at jaken.off.podcast@gmail.com. Send it your way. Thanks, Jake Off Nation. I love you guys. Peace.